Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening, Fade to Black. How you doing? How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yeah, you knew I was going to say that because this is Wednesday, November 26th, 2025. It is Green Wednesday. Yeah. Some used to call this Thanksgiving Eve. It's actually Green Wednesday. Yeah. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm in a great mood. Going to have an amazing day tomorrow, just like all of you are. I've got one dinner stop and 4 stops at some different houses, different friends, delivering wine and all of that stuff. So it's just going to be a fun day. Going to wear my Harley Santa shirt. Thanksgiving, I don't know. Seems appropriate. And all right. So we've got a short week this week. An amazing week on Fade to Black. It's always great around here. It's always busy. Monday night, we had Holly Hall on for the first time, astrology and predictions. And what a great show that turned out to be. Tuesday night, last night, Jason Quitt was here for Quitspiracy 14. And tonight, it is Stephen Bassett. There is a new documentary out, and it's called The Age of Disclosure, for the interest of transparency. I haven't seen the film. I will get around to it. I don't know if you have, and you can certainly let us know in the chat if you have seen this new documentary. And there you go. I'm sure that Steven has. We're going to be talking about that tonight. And what else did I want to... okay, let's just get straight to it. My next event coming up will be the Conscious Life Expo. It is February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. I have hosted this event now for 12 years. I think this is my 13th year. It is at the LAX Hilton. The links for that are below. It's always great fun, kids. It's great fun. Probably 15, 20,000 attendees. And I know these numbers get thrown around and and just like they're not. No, it's a pretty big conference, and there's probably 10,000 people in that vendor hall alone. Halls, I should say, downstairs. All right, so there you go. That is what's going on. I wanted to share this before I bring Stephen in. It is Thanksgiving. I have a lot to be thankful for. But I had one of the funniest and craziest things happen to me today. And there's a first for everything. And for me to get a first time and it happened. All right. I'm out running some errands today and I pull up. I'm going to turn left at this stoplight. There's a car in front of me, a small car, like a Honda or something. Nissan, and they were in front of me, and then as I started to slow down, they were slowing down before they needed to stop, and there was a sticker in the back window on just above the trunk, right in the middle, the sticker, pretty big, and the sticker catches my eye, and I look at it, and it is a silhouette of like a stripper with her leg up in the air. You see, you know what I'm talking about. So there's that. Underneath it, it says, "Don't get too close. I'm chubby." Right? It's like the strangest sticker I've ever seen. Okay. All right. And now that sticker's there for a reason. It gets you thinking. I'm thinking. And then the car changes lanes and gets out of the left-hand turn lane and is going straight. So now I pull up next to this car and I'm like, okay, I got to see the chunky woman driving. I just want to know who would put that sticker on the back window. And I pull up and I look, and she's already looking at me like this. Let me change cameras. She's like this. She's a little old lady. And she goes, just like, I was like, what? And she had to have been 80. That can't see over the dashboard, holding on to and she knew I was going to look at her. I'm wondering if the lane change was on purpose. So she would slow down so I would read it. And then she pulled over, and then I pulled up because she was ready, man. She was like, what? And I just laughed. I laughed so hard, and that just made my day. I would have done anything to just followed her and spoke to her, said something, because that was really, really cool. So that was my happy Thanksgiving treat today. It was absolutely cool. It was the coolest. All right, so I thought I'd share that with you. Let's get this rocking. Tonight we have Stephen Bassett. PRG is here. He's back. We have Steve on the show all the time, and we're going to be talking about the film. It's called The Age of Disclosure. I guess it's on Amazon, right? So you can go and check it out there. And I'm going to pop this back over to the chat. Have you guys seen the documentary? And what did you think of it? We'll get to that in a second when I get a chance to get back to the chat. Of course, he is, how do I define Steve? I would say Steve is an activist. And that's a broad term, but he's an activist, and he has been at this for a long time. Disclosure, the truth about UFOs, and making this happen. Of course, he has talked about the truth embargo for many, many years on the show, and defined it very clearly. And tonight, so we're gonna go deep into where we are right now with the disclosure. We've got this new film out, and I heard the other day, I'm pretty sure it's this film. I'll ask Steve about this. I think it was yesterday, I got an email that it was #1 on Amazon. I think it was #1. Pretty sure it was this film. #1 on Amazon. I don't know if it still is, but it hit that number apparently, and that's pretty incredible. And I always appreciate when this is getting out beyond our community. That's the most important step. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black the one and only Stephen Bassett. And Steve, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, sir.
Don't be too excited. It's Thanksgiving, man. Smile once in a while, Steve. See, you know what I almost said? Steve is an activist, and he's angry. He's pushing for disclosure, and he will never give up. And then you come on this. I was like, yeah, that's Steve. That's Steve. That's Steve. No,
I'm listening to your setup, and I'm in my mind, I'm imagining this. You know, reports came in today that noted talk show host Jimmy Church is pulled over by the police for stalking an elderly lady.
I know.
He followed her for like 35 miles, and he's winking at her, and I'm going, oh, that's not good.
Man, it was the craziest thing. I mean, seriously.
You made her day too.
So, I know I did. Okay, so now we have to actually go back in the setup for her. When did she see that sticker? When did she get it? And how did she put it on that window? Did she walk outside? I can't wait to put this on my car. You know what I mean? And just that, Or is it her daughter's car? You know, I thought about that when I was maybe it's not her car. I don't know. It was bizarre, man. It was great. I smiled so much. She did though, man. She gave me the
I'm sure she's leading her best life. Okay.
yeah, man. I'm telling you right now,
Oh, good.
it was super, super cool. Where are you at these days? Are you back in DC?
This is Washington, D.C., my office. 2 blocks from the White House. Things are happening every day around here. It's always interesting. You wake up one day and the East Wing's gone, and you're thinking, gee, I thought I saw that yesterday. Wasn't it there? I'm not sure.
You know what's crazy? I don't do politics on the show.
I'm not.
I don't. Well, hold on. Let me finish, Steve. Steve, let me finish. I don't take the orange bait. I don't really give a crap. I do. I care about this country, but as far as the madness that is going on, I just don't give a shit. It's the same thing for another 4 years and whatever. And it's always been that way. It's never going to change. But that being said, the East Wing, and this is not a political statement, building stuff takes time. Okay?
True.
There is no way the next president that gets elected, that goes into the White House, is going to have dirt next to it. That thing ain't getting done in 2 years. No, it's not. It's not.
I predict the history of this baby.
You can't put paving stones in your backyard in 2 years. Okay, so don't.
Well, let me put it this way: if you're the president, you could probably get him in a couple of months. And I wouldn't underestimate where this is going.
No, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. You know what's funny? They say a wise man once said, "Never say never." Right now, I'm saying never. It is not. It is not. Oh man. Oh. Yeah,
it's nothing. Man. It's nothing. Look, I tell you what goes around here.
You brought it up.
I did bring it up because I thought it was funny. I'm just trying to keep up with you, Jimmy. Now, look, let's get serious here. All right.
Okay. Well, it's a serious face.
Okay. So what's going on right now is in the overall sense, we're literally finally, and I'm really serious this time, we are seeing the collapse of the truth embargo. We're literally seeing a collapse in real time. It's taken a long time to get to this. It's like one of those when you take down one of those buildings, you got those little things going off. You're taking the studs are taken out of and it takes a while, and then finally, boom. Well, it took 80 years to get those things out. Now this building is coming down. There's a lot of reasons for that, but certainly the age of disclosure is maybe the plunger that set off the rest of the.
You're speaking about the movie when you say
the documentary, yeah.
Okay. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah. For those that want to really appreciate what happened, you want to first watch Bill Maher interview Dan Farah on his Real Time with Bill Maher, all right, which was like not that long before the film aired, so it's like a nice promo. Dan Farah
is
director writer.
How do you say his name?
Dan Farah.
It's not Farah. Farah? Is it Farah?
I'm going with Farah. Nobody's corrected me yet, but if it's Farah, I'm happy to take a right turn. It's okay.
We can call him. You want to call him?
You should have him on. Absolutely.
Dan Farah? Okay.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Okay. Let's stay. I don't want to get you off your thought process. So you've seen the film and
no, it's a milestone. It is like what we needed to finally break the glass door, get through. We've been waiting all these years for this. Why is it a milestone? There have been hundreds of documentaries about this subject, but they've been done by citizen documentarians. Not a lot of money, not a lot of staff or anything. They use the new software and the tech, and they make it up on their computer. They interview some people, and they get them out there. They're not that bad, but they don't take us where this takes us. This is what we've been waiting for. What I went to Hollywood about 4 years ago to try to get something going, it blew up. This is the first documentary made by a professional Hollywood, essentially producer creator. So he's writer director on this film, but man, it was his film. He's been on it for 3 years, right? So it has all the bells and whistles. It has, he has a manager, he has agents. He has contacts. And so
wait, I missed the name.
Dan Farah.
That's who you're talking.
That's right. He is the one is behind this movie in almost every way. And so he ties up with Luis Elizondo, who provides the connection to a lot of people, who then he brings them in, and they start bringing them in. When you bring in a few, others are willing to come in, and before you know it, they assemble 34. Actually, there's more than that in the film. 34, easily the highest the greatest assemblage of people of rank and station ever assembled in one place on a dock to speak to this issue. Nothing even comes close. All the way from military, intelligence people, 7 sitting members of Congress, the Secretary of State, and so forth. Never happened before. They put these interviews together over about 3 years. They keep it very quiet, right? Finally, they do what films normally do in the Hollywood setting, and that is they take it to a major film festival, South by Southwest, number 2 in the country, I believe, in size. They air it, get a little feedback, and then I suppose they move around to market it. Takes about a year, and they finally make the decision of which way he's going to go. And the way he chose to go was, and this is, by the way, his film. He did not go to studios on this. He did it himself. Though he has access to studios. He's been involved in major productions. He didn't want the studios to be in a position to be able to say, well, you don't want to go there. Maybe you don't want to do that. And so he puts out a trailer that starts generating a lot of media coverage, a lot of articles. It gets in Deadline. It gets in Variety. It gets in Hollywood Reporter, all of that stuff, leading up to the announcement of it's going to premiere. He premieres it in 3 theaters in 3 different cities: New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. And those theaters, which are a cool little group of theaters called Angelica Pop-Ups, they're really cool. It's like going back in time. Really nice, kind of fun. Love them. All right, going to go. And because he did that the way he did, he made the film eligible for an Oscar nomination. The first documentary on this field to ever be in a position to get an Oscar nomination. All right.
Okay, don't get ahead of your skis there, Steve. Don't get ahead of your skis. Never talk Oscar and jinx a film. It's just never do that. So, but that being said, I love the setup for this. The film itself, how new does it get? Because it was shot and produced and made 3 years ago, and here we are today in 2025. Did they edit extra stuff in that was recent?
I don't know. It wouldn't be impossible to tell, but of course the film may have started 3 years ago, but it's only been about a year since the South by Southwest Film Festival. So is it a little dated? Not much. And I think they may have added some new stuff. I think they did. But the point is that this film isn't about getting new stuff out. I hear this all the time. And we've got the debunkers and the skeptics online, which is where it's all at now. X. I mean, there are millions of them. They're having a ball, having fun. Mm-hmm. The principal complaint is, I don't see anything new. So what's the point of this? And what they forget is that 90% or more of the people in this country don't know this. They don't know any of this, really. They got an idea. They've heard some things. And so they need to know it too, right? And so it's about serving the country in whole, not just the people that have been following it. But the most important thing that people are not getting about what's happening right now, including this film, the hearings, and everything else, it's not about getting all the stuff out to you that you didn't know. It's not about bringing this out. Hey, look at this, bring this in, going to show you all the stuff, put it under oath. It's never been about that. And that's why people get so uptight and they got the cognitive dissonance. They're complaining and bitching because they got it wrong.
But see, I always put myself in the position of the way somebody else is thinking. That's what I do before I certainly say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But the reason why you hear that so often from them is because that is what they want. They are so invested in this and so researched into it that they are thirsty and hungry for new information.
No, I know that.
So you can't dismiss somebody for wanting that. That is a very, very, very valid position.
That's not
the
what
other position. The other position of this saying, which I agree with, is the rest of the world needs to know this. The rest of the world is learning. This is baby steps for them, and they need to engage and get into this the proper way, and that's a great way to do it. It's very hard to strike that balance of making everybody happy. You just can't do it. But somebody that wants new information, that is a valid, absolute valid position to be in.
All right, let me
when I watch this film, I might get around to it if I'm not going to learn something from it, or see an amazing moment that I wasn't familiar with or didn't know about. Then so I get that. I totally get that. And we'll let the infighting go on and let the critics do their thing. You're never going to make everybody happy, but I certainly try to look at both sides. That's all.
I didn't really say this well. All right, look, the small point is that there are plenty of people that don't know these things and they'll benefit from it, but that's not the key point. The key point is what I was about to make. All right. All of this is not about getting more and more stuff out so we can learn all about what's happened. No way. Everything that you've been seeing happening is about something else. This is all setting up the platform and the scaffolding for the president to be able to come out on it and disclose and end this truth embargo. All right. And in order for that to happen, the president just can't do it in a wild, moment one day. You've got to have things in place to do it responsibly. And they have put almost everything in place. Legislation, 3 acts, 1 still halfway done. That's been resubmitted 3 times. The major act still in play. 3 big hearings, 6 briefings, all in the Congress, right? Witnesses coming forward under oath. You've got a huge amount of media coverage during all this period, which goes all the way back to 2017, but it's speeding up. You've had plenty of witnesses testify in private to members of Congress. You've got members of Congress going on camera and saying, right, yeah, there's ETs here, right? We've got this, we've got that. We want the truth. You've got a task force that's been set up, right? Why are they doing all that? It's the reason they're doing it is so to set up the structure so the president can come out, make a disclosure announcement, and everybody will go, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Why didn't you do it sooner? That is what it's about. And so in order to do it responsibly, they're not going to break any security clearances. They're not going to break any laws. They're not going to ruin their life. If they can't say something, they'll say so. If it has to be in a skiff, they'll say so. But every time they do that, people say, what? You don't use that skiff stuff. We want to know what it is. We want to know what it is right now. The stuff that's being written is going through DOPSR so that things are taking out. They're doing a responsible process that does bring out some information that a lot of the people would know, but the people that are really in the issue going, I know that, but it's bringing it out under oath in Congress, in a hearing. This is the structure they're building, and they are basically done. The only thing that is still needed,
let me real quick. Who is they?
Let's just say that they, in this case, includes all those that have a stake in this. Members of Congress, chairmen of committees, obviously the witnesses, and certain elements within the Department of Defense and elsewhere that are fundamentally behind getting this out. All right. And the journalists, okay, they're doing their job. All right. The witnesses are doing their job. So the they is pretty much everyone that is servicing what you've been seeing happening. Right? The hearings, the witnesses coming forward, the big media coverage, the legislative process, which has been intense, but has been moving forward. The only thing that really is missing in this platform that we need is the completion of the full UAP Disclosure Act, all right, which is going to come back again really soon. It's been resubmitted 3 times. But the fact is, we don't even need that. We have enough, which means what? It means that as of now, it took 80 years. Oh, and by the way, we needed that film. Okay, that film is key, all right? Because as we're moving towards just about wrapping this up, out comes a movie with 34 people testifying to just about everything to the limits that they're allowed, and it pretty much covers it all. And if you want to say that all of these people are lying and they're part of some psyop or something, including the Secretary of State, the military people, admirals, the whole 9 yards, fine. But that's unfortunately delusional. So this really powers this thing. Plus, it's going to generate massive viewership. The interview that he gave on Mar It's going to be seen by millions of people. It's going to go on Netflix. Maher's show, Real Time with Bill Maher, is the highest total viewed show on Netflix. Okay. And then they do the after show for online. It's called Overtime, 10 minutes. Dan is on that, saying a couple of things. That goes up on the Real Time YouTube channel with 2.3 million subscribers. If you look at some of the other cuts of Overtime and New Rules on that, they get up to 25, 35 million views. Okay. And so that alone guaranteed endless views of that interview that's just going to drive sales and bring the issue out. He does the film, puts it out, and then within a couple of days, he goes where? He goes on Rogan for 2 hours. The same Rogan that helped elect the president. The same Rogan that Alla Polina went on just about a couple of months ago for 2 hours talking about what? She's talking about UAPs, UFOs. This is not an accident. This is a relatively orchestrated process of which Dan Harris playing a part in his way. And the part that he's playing is huge. So he is going to be really pushing this issue. We're going to get all kinds of media coverage of this documentary, and people are going to keep watching it, which again helps to set the stage for the president, which brings me to this. Let me ask you this really quick because of the timing of things. Do we push, when I say we and they, us, right? The world, the UFO community, the media, everything. Do we push for disclosure now while we have a weak administration that's in chaos before the next administration that comes in that's going to have other stuff on their plate and disclosure may not be out in front? Do we do it now when we have a weak administration and it's just chaotic? Yes, we do it now.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
we do it now, and we may not even have to push. There are about a dozen things that comes out in that documentary which are very significant, and when you watch it, people will pick up on it. There's already been some YouTube videos on X about this. They're bringing it out, but one of them, okay, which I had not heard, was that in the early days of the George W. Bush administration, several people were in the White House talking to him about doing it. About disclosing. It was being kicked around. They were taking pros and they were taking cons. Now we know that he didn't do that. Now that may have been because they decided not to, or that they were still considering it when 9/11 happened later that year. But obviously it didn't happen. But what we got confirmed in that movie to millions of people is that they were discussing George W. Bush disclosing in 2001. And then another part of the film, they talk about the fact that there was someone discussing that with the President Trump, about disclosing. It came up in the first term, right? And since then, there has been incident after incident after incident confirming that this thing is alive and well in the White House very quickly. All right. And this is powerful. 1, 5 days before the inauguration, his son, Don Jr., on his Triggered podcast, got a lot of subscribers there. What does he do? 5 days before his father's going to be inaugurated, he brings in Luis Elizondo and Coulthard to talk about the issue for 2 hours. No accident. 5 months into the administration, what happens? J.D. Vance goes on the Ruthless podcast. What does he say? I'm obsessed with UFOs. He's the vice president. No accident. And then just shortly after that, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Security, the Director of National Intelligence, she goes on another podcast, I think it was Pod Force One, and starts talking about the issue. No accident. And then just a week or so after that, Anna Paulina Luna, the head of the task force to classify secrets, chairman of she chaired one of the hearings, major player, very vocal. She goes on Rogan for 2 solid hours and talks about the issue. And then not too long before the film comes out, J.D. Vance goes back on Pod Force One, another podcast, and repeats that he's really into this issue, and just happens to mention that his very close friend, Marco Rubio, he's national security advisor at Secretary of State, is really into the issue. Not too many days later, he shows up as a major player in this documentary. No accident. And so
I hear all of that. I do. I hear all of that. And on the surface, it's exciting. Then I just back up and I wonder, the vice president's name is
Vance.
J.D. Vance. Don't know the guy. I wouldn't know him if I saw him. So, but J.D. Vance. Okay. So And then you mentioned Trump Jr.
Donald Trump Jr.
There's a difference between those two and Luna. Luna understands the subject and is coming at it from that Trump and JD Vance and their comments that I've seen the video clips and everything else. It was a superficial, like, social media interest and comment on the subject. It's not, Luna's she is well researched and is pushing. She's the one doing the hearings. To say that you have an interest in UFOs, everybody does. And that's my concern with that. And I don't know if it's if the community is getting the right message out of that. That's all. I want somebody that's swinging at the ball like Luna.
Jimmy,
you know what I mean? And she's swinging at that ball.
Jimmy, it's not about swinging or not swinging. It's not about what's superficial. The very fact that the vice president of the United States goes on a podcast and says, I'm deep into UFOs. That is all you need to know. That has never happened before. Right now, Galbert, never happened before. We have had more things happen in just the last year than in the previous 70. We are in territory that's totally unknown. It's like a Star Trek episode. And so what's important is that they're doing it. You have people key to the administration talking to the issue. And it's not like they went on the show and they decided, I think I'll talk about that. When people like that go on one of these podcasts, what is going to come up is what they want to come up. And if they don't want it to come up, it doesn't happen. That was the same when Hillary and Bill and Podesta were going on those talk shows during her campaign. Those things came up because they wanted them to come up. Didn't work out like I wanted. So this is demonstrating that this issue is completely alive and well in the White House. Now, in the interview, just to give you an idea, I can go on for 40 minutes on this, but I'm going to keep it short. In the interview that Farah has with Joe Rogan, right? He brings up the fact that the issue is alive in the White House, and he thinks that Trump ought to disclose. What does Joe say? I agree. I think I'll talk to him about that. Well, you know something? Joe Rogan could talk to him about that. That's just a glimpse of all the stuff we're starting to pick up that is going on. Of the 14 presidents since Roswell, every one so far, including Trump, has refused to end this issue. We have learned now that there have been a couple of serious considerations. I left out Clinton. Didn't quite go to what I talked about before, but Clinton was in play. But he didn't have a chance of getting out because the DOD wouldn't block it. So that's 3 presidents where it's been involved. Didn't happen. Everything that's happened to 2017 and everybody that's been involved in that, you know who the players are. They have worked hard. They have taken chances. Whistleblowers have come forward. They've had death threats. They put with a lot. And that has helped us bring us to this point where now administration is absolutely giving it serious consideration. And enough has been done so that if the president goes into the Oval Office tomorrow, sits in front of the Resolute desk, one camera, no press, and says, I've been paying attention. I've made inquiries. And yeah, we have those vehicles and we have bodies and they're not from here. And so I'm confirming what you have heard. Now I'm going to go to bed. And there's going to be a lot of press conferences and hearings coming up where you're going to learn a lot more. That's disclosure. He's one out of 14 presidents who did it.
I want this so bad for the community and for people that have seen stuff and have been ridiculed, can't talk to their husband or their wives because of the
that is
stigma that's tied to it, right? I want that so much for the community and for those. I want to stand up. But Stephen, this is the part where I don't know about you. I'm 62. I've been doing this for 50 years. Okay. Longer, more than 50 years. And I've had 50 opportunities to say, this is the year. 50 years, 50 times. This is the year. Now we're in 2025. Things are definitely cool. It's exciting. But are we going to have the same conversation in 2028? Are we going to have the same conversation in 2029 and 2030? I've said this so many times. We've got to keep our foot on the neck of the man and not ease up. We just can't do it.
Well,
we can't
I'm not
get complacent. No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying the community. I'm speaking to the community. Don't get comfortable because of a film or statements or whatever. Like, okay, we got this. No. Everybody, listen to Steve. Listen to me.
Sure.
Keep the pressure on.
I'm not saying they shouldn't keep the pressure on. There's plenty happening. You've got the New Paradigm Institute's got a full disclosure citizen thing going on. There's organizations being formed. Stuff's happening. New conferences are coming up. No. The pressure is not going to go away. I would try to make it a little more civil where possible, because I think they're trying to get there. So why irritate them? But let me tell you, I've been in this for 30 years. And I know that I've always projected confidence, and I've always tried to be positive. I never pick a date. Some people do that. Big mistake. I try to project what the probabilities are. Never in that 30 years have we been anywhere close to this. This is it. All right. Now, the one thing that could derail it is a major awful event. Pick one. There's a lot of possibilities. If one of those slams down, it could be shoved a little bit further, but not completely off the table. Right now, I'd say the odds are fair that it might not happen. But I've been putting out a message now for nearly 25 straight interviews. I've got 20 more scheduled. I'm losing my voice. The podcast army has risen and to my call. Great. Not that you're the podcast army, but you're a pretty big guy. And so the one message we're getting across repeatedly, and it kind of came across with Rogan. I think maybe even Dan got into this. It's this. This is the president of the 14 who has the personality and the worldview to do it, where the other ones did not. They had to be they would have to been persuaded, and it was easy for the Department of Defense and others to talk them out of it. This is not that kind of president. Now, without getting into the pluses and minuses of that, the point is that all the work has been done, the platform is set, and he does not have either a personal or a political reason not to do it. Why? Because, and I am serious here, if he goes in that Oval Office and ends this truth embargo, it is a guaranteed Nobel Prize. I'm not being funny. I know about this. It's come, it goes. It's kind of cute. Guaranteed Nobel Prize. He will get the accolades coming in from all over the world. As Dan Farah said, and I've said countless times, it will be one of the most important, if the most important act by any head of state in the history of the human race. Other heads of state will follow quickly. We may even see one or two or three of the living presidents back them up right away. And so those that are going to say, I don't believe a word that just came out of that man's mouth. A few days later, when the other heads of state are backing it up, they're going to realize, my God, he's telling the truth. And so that is how close we are after 80 years, when the government absolutely, and by the way, in the film, they reinforce over and over again, Roswell was real. Not that I didn't know that 30 years ago. Over and over again, because it's the beginning of all this. It's proven absolutely rock solid. That's being reinforced. But 80 years after that event, finally, the government is going to yield. I say the president is going to allow the government to do what it needs to do, which is start bringing all of this information out, bodies, vehicles, stuff, tech, I don't care what, under a UAP Disclosure Act and a congressional-led review panel. And we're going to get it all in a number of years. And then we'll see where that takes us. I believe it leads to open contact, but that's another matter. So that's where we are. And I'm just trying to get that message out. Watch the film. Watch the interview with Farah on Rogan. Watch his interview on Mar. And then start looking at the other things that are happening. There have been two major research developments that you couldn't have imagined 35, 40 years ago. They just happened in the last year and a half. You want to know what they are? Of course you do. One, okay. The leading person is now making the truth about telepathy valid in the world is Diane Hennessy Powell. She came out with the telepathy tapes that caught fire. She's now been at several conferences. The work is holding up. Virtually, she is going to confirm what the government has known for 80 years, that telepathy is real. This is a major breakthrough. You can expect a lot more developments there. Along with that comes remote viewing. They discussed that on Rogan. Farah makes it clear that he's talked to, by the way, in that interview, Farah talks about a lot of people that are not in the film that he has talked to. He spent 4 years talking to these people. And one of the things that came up, remote viewing, absolutely true. So that has just exploded. And then you've got the work of Beatrice Villarreal, who happens to be a physicist at the Nordic Institute of Astrophysics. kind of a serious organization. In Sweden, where they give away the Nobel Prizes. And what did they just do? An unbelievable act of elegant science, not deep, super complicated science that you do when you kind of get a breakthrough in quantum physics, but elegant in that it goes and discovers something that was right there nobody found. What did they do? They went and reviewed thousands and thousands of plates, right, of photos of space before Sputnik, thousands of them, and looked at them. And what they found is that things were turning up in one piece of space, and then later on, it's gone. Sometimes it was in there a couple of times, and it's gone. And what that demonstrates, and there are about 2,000 of these, that these were not natural objects, and they couldn't have been made by us. There was no satellite up there. It confirms that something was up there that was made from somewhere else. It basically slam dunks the issue of extraterrestrial presence. Thousands of these. The only other explanation is they happen to catch a meteor, a little small meteor going by in a still shot, and then they film it later and it's gone. Except they had situations where it was in this plate, a couple of weeks later in that plate, and then it's gone. But it gets better. Those plates were time stamped. And so they were able to compare when these incidents, thousands of them occurred, and correlated what was going on the ground. And guess what they found? A 45% correspondence to our nuclear weapons test.
Well, there was a much bigger point in that whole thing.
Okay.
Not the nuclear. Well, they everybody's attracted to certain things. You're attracted to the nuclear thing that stood out to you. That's not what stood out to me, Steve. That wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
No, they went and followed the timestamps to local reports about UFOs and anomalies.
That's right.
That was the crazy part about all of it. But I'm going to give you part 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Listen to this. This is probably bigger than ET contact, what I'm about to give to you. And this was a press release from yesterday. And I'm all about ET, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This could be the biggest news in the history of man. And here's the press release. Not the press release, this is my reporting on it. This is yesterday. Maria Strom. She's the professor of material science at Uppsala University. It's not woo. She's not this. No. She's a materialist, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wrote and published a paper with the title, Consciousness is Fundamental.
Okay.
And I am quoting directly from the published paper. Only thereafter do time, space, and matter arise. This is the starting point for a new theoretical model of the nature of reality. Presented by myself, Maria Strom, professor of material science at Uppsala University. She presents a framework in which consciousness is not viewed as a byproduct of brain activity, but as a fundamental field underlying everything we experience: matter, space, time, and life itself. This is the biggest thing ever. Now, the physicists and science has always stood on consciousness is created from chemistry in the brain. Consciousness arrives out of that. It's local to us. It is not out there. When you die, you turn into space dust. This paper says the opposite. And when you read the full paper, consciousness is the basis for dark energy. It is what is expanding the universe. Consciousness arrives here and enters us after our bodies are formed. It changes everything. Every speck of science that we have now gets flipped on its ear. The article has been selected as the best paper of AIP, which is the advances in physics, and is now featured on their cover. This is a very, 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 very big deal. So now you can go up to a Neil deGrasse Tyson or a Michio Kaku or Brian Greene a Sean Carroll, any of these materialist, fundamental, pragmatic, non-spiritual, non-woo scientists and physicists who are rock stars with these huge followings that they have, that want to poo-poo the ET consideration and what consciousness is. This flips it all over. And now this is an argument that is able to be presented in an intellectual format. It's huge. It is the biggest of news. Why? You and I always knew this. Our community always knew this about consciousness. Science and education at those levels always denied this aspect of it because they couldn't measure it. She applied, I thought you were going to mention this, and then I'll move on. She went back and looked at all of these theories, rules, and laws of physics and restudied and reapplied the math and the algorithms and got different results. The results are consciousness is first, then matter, then time, right? It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. It's a big deal.
Well, if it's true, she gets a Nobel. And if it's true, then one might assume that a very advanced civilization, thousands of years ahead of us, as, how would you say, taking advantage of that and utilize that in ways that we could not possibly at this point.
That's right.
The consciousness issue comes up with respect to the ETs, again, because of telepathy and so forth, their ability to integrate with their machines. And this is good. And I wait more information about that. But in the moment, the idea that the fact that we're not alone is going to be maybe confirmed and then become engaged worldwide without the restrictions that are being put on it. That's a big deal in the immediate moment of people's lives, with all kinds of potential implications for the future, because we have to reset the civilization. And that's going to require a worldview change of rather grandiose proportions, possibly even with the help of ETs in an open contact environment. Mm-hmm. So I'm making a simple point. It looks like the stage is set. Does that mean it'll happen? No. But there is no barrier to it. I couldn't say that during the Clinton administration. While that was going on, I knew it was awful. They went after him. They pounded him. Podesta was kind of stonewalled. They did what they could, but there was no chance. There was no way they were going to work with him. Carter said a few things, tried to get a study going, slapped down. But that was then. A lot's happened since then, and it begins in 2017. And many of the people that are in this film were part of that initial group that came out, Elizondo, Mellon, and so forth. So it's been about an 8-year span, not long compared to the past, in which we went from a breakthrough, which was the New York Times articles and the people coming forward. And then it escalates slowly over time. And now we're at the point where we're pretty much ready to lock it down. And one of the other things about this movie is it addresses a number of things that have been brought up constantly by the skeptics and the debunkers online. They've attacked everybody, right? And this program, that program, this person, and they put some of that to bed. I'll let the people go watch it to get some of that. But let me say,
well, be specific. What was it?
Luis Elizondo is a controversial fellow, and for various reasons, he's taken maybe the brunt of the heavy debunking. Some of it's deserved, some of it's not, and there are a number of lies put out there as part of it. They address that, not directly, but they talk about what happened, and they basically confirm that the fundamental story is true. Now, I know that well, I'm going to get to that in a second. That's a whole nother area, but let me just say,
did they address all the fake photos that Elizondo had put up?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right.
Mistakes, yes, but that's small potatoes. You've got a much bigger issue here. And so I think it helps to restore a lot of this to a more stable position. However, this film is going to generate a huge amount of backlash, parody, debunking. All right, because it's so powerful that it's getting us close to where we're going. And the people that don't want to go there are going to push back real hard. All the people, I say people, all the persons who have been dining out for years on debunking this issue, making fun of it, parroting, all that kind of stuff, attacking people, defamation left and right.
Right.
If they see the end coming where it's going to be proven to be true, this is not comfortable for them. I get that. This is not something they're looking forward to. And they're really piling on. And I get that. I appreciate that. And there's something happening on the web I'll get to in a minute. So the key message that I'm giving here is this. What's been going on for the last 8 years is preparation for disclosure, not disclosure in the sense of dumping stuff out. That preparation meant things had to come forward. People had to say things, but always in a legal way, so as not to derail the process and get people involved. They succeeded. They've done it. There's been some pain. Some of the people did get hit hard because where they went was really tough. Grush was like the icebreaker. The front of that icebreaker ship takes a hell of a beating, and he's taking a hell of a beating, but he's still here. All right. But now there are more and more witnesses coming forward. And this film, just to give you an idea how important it is, one, age of disclosure is going to make it easy for more politicians. There are many who have not come forward, but they know what's going on, but they're not ready to come forward yet. For every Burchett, there's 10 or 12 other Congress people that kind of know. This is going to make it easier for them to step up too. So you're going to have more members of Congress coming out. Two, it's going to make it easier for witnesses who are kind of on the fence right now, a little worried, to come forward. It's looking safer. So it's going to help more witnesses come out. It's going to generate more media coverage. All right. So you see the impact of this film is not just people learning something new. It's literally helping to advance the process. And it's also make it easier to get hearings, more hearings. So it's going to have, and because of the way it was marketed, over each day that goes by from now forward, more and more and more people are going to see the film. They're going to see the Rogan interview. They're going to see the Maher interview, and it's just going to keep it going. Now, the film is right now for sale and rent for a lot of money. They're trying to get some money back. I don't blame Dan for that. It's not streaming free. But eventually that'll come down, and eventually it'll stream for free. But let me tell you, buy this film, rent this film. I don't care if it's a little expensive. When you rent and buy this film, you are paying respect to the person that has done something extraordinary, but you're also helping the disclosure process in a very straightforward way, because he made it clear in the interview with Rogan, he talked to scores more people than that. He had a 4-hour director's cut. He had to cut down to 2. There's a whole bunch more that could come out in another film. So let's reward this film, right? Support it on Amazon. It doesn't stream now, but you can rent and buy it. All right. Now, the other thing I'd like to mention is that
you're putting an awful lot of pressure on this film.
I am. And when you see it, let me know if you think.
Oh, you make me want to watch it. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I always play devil's advocate, right?
Of course you do.
If we go back to, it's why you love me, Stephen.
I know. I do love you. And you owe me 3 dinners because it's been
I do owe you. I owe you at least 3 dinners.
Ribs.
It's whatever you want.
Yeah.
If we go back to December of 2017 and the excitement that was around that, and I found myself in the middle of it for a lot of different reasons. I was planted in the middle, and all of the players that were involved, I was interviewing, and here on Fade to Black and Coast to Coast, I made movies with them,
which is good.
TV series. I did all of that, but I lifted my foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and I asked myself if there was going to be legs to this story. It was big. UFO program, secret UFO program, Pentagon, New York Times. We know. And so, yes, the media, that was a huge wave. New York Times, the reveal, a UFO program, TTSA, this momentum. And dude, it started there, but it also died there.
Didn't die. It slowed down.
It nosedived. Where's TTSA today? And what I'm saying is we had all of that going for us in 2017. It was a mountain. It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was so cool. And then poof, 2 years later, it was all over.
It was not. Look, this is my job. While you're doing billions of shows, and you got a lot on your plate, guy. Look, TTSA was a launch. It was a launch vehicle, right? It was the initial, whatever you call it, and it launched the thing. And then, as you do with launches, that segment falls off, right? And then the rest moves forward. So TTSA was never going to follow that down the line. It was going to fall off, and it did. But it launched.
Okay. I get that. No history lesson here. My point.
And then what happened next?
But hold on, Stephen.
Right.
My point is, if this film is what the New York Times did in 2017, great. Let's hope that's putting a lot on this film.
Oh, it's
And
way bigger than that.
I hope
It is
I
way
hope
bigger
so.
than New York
I-
Times.
I
The
need
Secretary of State is in the damn thing. The Secretary of State was not in the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences in
I'm
2017.
not talking about TTSA. I'm talking about the New York Times.
Well, even the New York Times article. What does that come out in this movie is equivalent of 50 of those New York Times articles.
Well,
Okay.
I hope so.
And it's not coming from a journalist that's given a story. It's coming from high-level people in the government, admirals, generals, lieutenants, right? It's 34 people, man. It's a sledgehammer, right? To the glass ceiling. So, but let me tell you what else is going on in the net. And I want to get this out because I want to get people prepared for it because it's coming. There's two groups of people on the internet, mostly X, who are this is what I'm going to say. They hate the government. Okay, we know that. They hate the government. It lies. It misrepresents. It's a bunch of deep state swamp people, whatever the hell they hate it. And then there's a bunch of people that hate this issue. They don't like it. They know it's not real. They hate the fact that people are grifting on it and whatever the hell else. And then there's people that hate both. And so now that we're kind of broken out, okay, and as I said, they're like, they're not going to take this. What you're having is the age of citizen parity is about to take us on. Now, what do I mean by that? This is the age of parity and political parity. We know that. It's gone to places I can imagine. When I was a kid, you had a cartoon in the paper, an editorial cartoon and something in the comics. Now, you have incredibly funded, sophisticated parodies that can literally rip you to pieces and make you laugh. That's become a thing. But guess what? It's gone citizen because the tech is there. You can get the software, the AI, a little bit of equipment, and you can make your own parody films. It's not South Park, but it's interesting. And what's happening is they're now coming out. First came the AI cartoons, right, that are kind of making fun of this issue. And then the films started coming. They're sophisticated. They're very good. And they're going right at the issue. They're defaming everybody. Some of it is not defamatory, but it doesn't matter. The internet is a giant defamation machine. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. And if you don't like being defamed in parodies, do not become a public figure. All right. And so this is going to be pouring out. Meanwhile, it draws in the other skeptics, and they're really pounding this issue hard on the net. It's going to get worse. I'm inviting people to enjoy it, laugh, right? And not get angry when they utterly defame the hell out of somebody you really admire. But this is going to happen because now you can do that. Almost anybody can do that. I can't do that. I'm too old. But I'm impressed by how good it is. And yet, of course, it is not helpful. All right. And one of the things they're doing, and I'm not saying it's government backed. There's so many smart kids and Gen Zs on the internet that can do almost anything. What it is trying to do is bring back the age of stigma and ridicule and make people embarrassed to say the word, say alien and so forth. They really kind of trying to push it there. I don't think it's going to succeed, but I'm just giving people an alert. So this is the pushback from the public. Initially, in that after 1718, we got pushback from the DOD. They've made 4 or 5 significant moves, but at this point, they've just about given up. There's not much they can do at this point. And when you watch the movie and you see people that have dealt with the DOD, talk with people in the DOD, you realize that, there's really not much more they can do to kind of hold the line. I mean, they've done a few things, but nothing works, right? They tried to undermine the nuclear shutdown thing with a grotesque article in the Wall Street Journal, fell flat. They tried to debunk the whole issue by saying it was just misunderstanding of stuff that we were doing, and the pilots were saying stupid things because they were hazing them with dumb stories to make them embarrassed. This actually made it into the Wall Street Journal. I was interviewed for it for an hour, right? So it blew up. Nothing. Okay, so they kind of know it's over. Now the question is, can we finish this up in an orderly way? We have another problem. And that, of course, is that there's a hugely difficult, negative, hyper-partisan situation going on in the country. Things are happening every day. We just had 2 guardsmen almost killed. They may still die in D.C. We could see martial law. I know that's not helpful. But
let's not go there. Yeah,
we're not going to go there. I'm saying, but there are these things happening. And so one of the things that we have pointed out is that, look, the president has an opportunity to do something incredibly important and special. And it would certainly help as we try to deal with everything that's happening to have something that provided to us by our president, by our government, this truth, ending this embargo. It would go a long way for making it a little easier for us to get along. It has, how we say, collateral positives other than just ending the truth embargo. We need something like this now. Every day. I mean, I'm on antacids all the time. For the last 2 years, or last year certainly, but even longer than that, and I watch the news all the time. It's a horror show, right? And that doesn't do good. Okay, and my enzymes are probably all screwed up. And everybody, suicides are up. People are depressed. We all know this. We need something to take us to another place. And what could do that better than finally confirming to the entire human race, which will happen quickly, that there are other species, they're here. That could be a good thing. Let's find out more. And the whole damn, I guess to say, the whole damn information sphere becomes a giant sci-fi movie. And I love sci-fi.
For sure. Stephen, let's take our break. You stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month.
I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th. The 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below.
Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church Guy TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com.
All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, the one and only Stephen Bassett is joining us. We're talking about a new documentary that is out now. It is called The Age of Disclosure. I just popped up. Let me see. I'm in the chat. I'm going to do this in real time. What did you think of the doc? Okay. All right. So I just asked everybody, Stephen, who has seen the film and what they thought of it. What is revealed? What is is there an overarching message here? Is it that the government does know and they're not talking about it? Is that the overarching message in the film?
Well, the overarching aspect of the film is that a whole lot of people with pretty substantial lives and careers and credentials and accomplishments are all in one form or another confirming there's an extraterrestrial presence. They tend to go with technologically advanced or non-humans. I get it. I think it's extraterrestrial, and a number of those people think that as well. And that the government knows about it and has been dealing with it from the get-go. That's the overall message. And you're getting it from different people, from different walks in life and station, and that just accumulates. I mean, it's overwhelming the usual objections. You know, for most of this era, going back to 47, you go to 1950. Here's how it went. You got a picture, right? That's too fuzzy. That doesn't prove anything. You got a picture. It's absolutely crystal clear. It has to be fake. Okay, that's it. Over and over and over and over again. It's somebody said this. That's hearsay. Has no value. The idea was, do not allow anything to get traction. Do not admit to anything. Right? Deny, obfuscate, whatever. And then, of course, many other things they had to do. They spent a fortune on the truth embargo. Believe me, a lot of money. That's all changed. That's all changed. Since 2017, on my website, paradigmresearchgroup.org, under the projects ongoing, is my print media archive. Since 2017, I've logged in 8,000, maybe approaching 9,000 articles, real journalism, not the fluff stuff. I triage that out on this subject. 9,000, 8,000 articles in just 7 years. The most intense 7 years of all time. That shows the how much the media is involved. And so the message is coalescing. The people are lining up behind the fundamental truth, because Once you accept that there's an extraterrestrial presence or a non-human tech presence that and non-human tech in our system, that's enough. That that is true. Now you can start reassessing how you look at this world. Everything else we get is kind of gravy. And it won't be like confirmational. It's not like I don't need to see a craft to confirm what I knew when I was 17. And certainly when I got into this field, I want to see the craft and find out what tech they've learned from it and what that science and technology could be, how it could be used, because we got some serious problems on this planet and they're going to require a technological solution. I want that. I'd like to know what the ETs have told them if they've had any interaction. All right.
Well, is this in the film?
Well, I mean, they talk about crashes, they talk about the president, they talk about all of these things, but I'm saying that is what I want to see come out, right? They talk about it, they refer to it. One of the attacks on the film over and over again, where's the evidence? It's nothing but talking heads. And again, that's because of the fallacy. They think that this whole process has been about getting all the evidence out. No, it's getting to disclosure by the president so they can get the evidence out. But there's still things out there that you can talk about. There's been plenty of research.
Do they in the film, there's a couple of ways to approach it. Do they use fear and national security as one of the approaches? Do they do that, or do they take the approach that ET is benevolent and you know what I mean? Which way does the film approach this?
It is an interesting dynamic.
And you smile as you answer that.
A certain group that you could predict are leaning to that threat thing. They're leaning into the threat thing. Then you've got some others, not so much. Okay. But one of the things from the very beginning, going back to 17, if you look at this as a process that had to take place to set us up for disclosure in an orderly, responsible way, the threat narrative, it should have been always potential threat narrative, but sometimes they leave out the potential. I get it. But the threat narrative was essential to get some higher level media involved, members of Congress involved. It's a safe platform to address. It's a national security matter. We need to look into this. Our planes might crash into them. They never do. They might shoot our planes down. They don't do. But still, the threat thing was always there. And it's kind of still there. And it turns up in that doc. Again, most of the time when they say threat, they really want to say potential threat. You know, and a kitchen knife in the drawer in the kitchen is a potential threat. If it's in the hand of somebody standing in front of you, it's a real threat. And the difference is not trivial. So the threat thing is going to kind of continue forward as part of this, because we need the national security people involved. You know, was Rubio's the head of he's the national security advisor. But that don't over respond to it. I do not think at the core that they really think this is a threat. Why? Because they have been studying and tracking these things for 80 years. If they were shooting down hundreds of our planes, they would know it. They're not. They know that they turned our weapons off. They didn't blow them up. They didn't melt them down. They turned them off. They give messages to people that, like, you're going down a bad road here and things are going to go to hell. They know all this. But again, they're not going to be able to really back off completely the threat issue until we get into the post-disclosure era, where that will be openly discussed. You'll have people on a hearing in front of Congress, and they'll be asked about that. What is your view of the threat potential? And they'll get different opinions under oath in a public forum. And then the public will get a more reasoned sense of this. Do I think that fundamentally there's a threat to our fundamental civilization? No. Do I think that these entities are evil? No. Do I think they could turn evil or they could destroy us anytime they wanted to? Yeah, it's a potential threat. It will always be a potential threat. But guess what? Just about every living person on this planet is a potential threat to everybody else. And frequently they become a real threat. We're a really dangerous species, incredibly violent, incredibly destructive. The ETs are not quite at that level. So I'm going to give them some slack here and find out more, hopefully in a post-disclosure time.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid position. And I one that if we step back and understand the way that the media deals with this, and certainly Washington, fear sells. you use fear to keep people in line and in step, right? You use fear and propaganda. And that's the part of this to hide behind, well, it's national security. Why is it national security? And if it is national security, keep that secret. Don't keep ET from us, life in the universe. That's nature. You're trying to make nature the secret. And that's the part that we can have both. Tell us that we're not alone in the universe, that we've made contact. All right. Now, if there are other issues where we don't want the bad guys to have this technology, I get that. I support that. So it's a really weird, strange situation that we find ourselves in. If you continue the fear narrative, people are going to go with that when that is not the case. And that's the part that I really have a problem with.
Well, interestingly enough, I think the fear narrative with respect to ETs really wasn't particularly there. It was somewhat, but you didn't see much of it. You know where the fear narrative really was? Is they repeatedly, a number of times, get back to the fact that, again, pointing out something we already know, right? That Soviet Union, Russia, and China, they got these craft. They've got them too. It's hard. That should shock no one. All right. How many other countries have craft? I don't know. In many cases, they may get a crash, but they'll give it to some other country, like possibly the Italian crash ended up with us. And we know the Russians had craft and they had ET bodies, which is one of the things that triggered their very intense investigation into telepathy and remote viewing. They were 10 years ahead of us before we figured that out, probably because they had some of their own crash vehicles and they had maybe live ETs. China is almost certainly, they say that China is also working on re-engineered vehicles. They think they may have created some re-engineered anti-gravitics. Possibly those are turning up over our bases. All of this kept coming out. And then the fundamental issue was certainly stated. I forget by who. We can't allow these other nations to get beyond us in the weaponization of ET-derived tech and science. That's a given. Okay, I understand. The idea of
how would you even stop that? You can't.
No.
It's not even. That's a fear tactic, not from you. I mean, in general, if you say something like that, something that you can do nothing about, right? If Putin has got a craft and he's reverse engineering, he's got a craft and he's going to reverse engineer. There's nothing we can do about that.
Well, you can do. Let me tell you what you can do, Jimmy. Look, the biggest concern, probably from a national security standpoint, regarding ET tech is anti-gravitics. Now, Danny's brought it up. I brought it up, and I think it was brought up in the film. We know how these craft operate, and they talked a lot about how these craft operate, confirming over and over and over again they can do what they do. And I think Davis or somebody gave out a pretty good explanation of how they work now. I've heard something like that. It was intriguing. Maybe it's true, but whatever, it made some sense. The point is, they move like this. So if you have that kind of tech, you can put a couple of nuclear warheads on that, and you can take it from somewhere in Russia and put it over Washington before they even know it's there. That's how fast it is, which makes them the perfect first strike weapon. Nothing.
Well, okay, it's Thanksgiving Eve, Steve. Yeah. Let's chill out on the darkness. But I will say this. I will say this. That hasn't happened.
No, it hasn't.
Because it hasn't happened. But if anybody out there had that ability, we would know. We would see it in the theater. The theater of war.
I'm giving thanks, Jimmy, for you and for the disclosure process. I'm a very thankful person. But they made it clear they already have it. We have anti-gravitic craft too. Now, whether they're quite as operational as the best that we've seen, and all I'm saying is that nothing makes the nuclear war concern worse than first strike capability. first strike capability makes everybody paranoid because they could do it. Should you do it? And that we don't want to stay in that zone very long at all. And this anti-gravitics apparently is taking us there, maybe there already. So they're trying to say this. The way you defuse this is you end the truth embargo. You get the information out. The whole world learns they're here. The whole world learns we've got this tech. It's being developed. Let's sit down and see how we can avoid this technology becoming a serious threat to an accident to launch a nuclear war. Let's solve that problem. Let's back away from the mutual assured destruction reality we're in. The way you get there is not by scaring people to death, but by giving them the information. And we can't get that without disclosure. But these men are bringing this up possibly to show there were very legitimate reasons why they kept this thing solid and classified, because there are major national security risks, not from the ETs, but from the fact that more than one country has got the tech.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
Yeah.
I saw, and you're more than welcome to repeat what I'm about to tell you. But about a year ago, Stephen, and you know where I live. You've been to my house. You know that I'm 1 mile from Skunk Works, right? It's right down the street. And a year ago, I went out after the show and I went up on the second floor to my balcony to watch the meteor shower that was happening. So I step out there. And I'm facing Skunk Works and I'm watching the meteors. But this is what happened. I'm not going to get into the full, long, drawn out event itself, but I see an object zigzagging out in front of me. Not very high, maybe 1,000 feet. And it's bright white and it's doing this at the same altitude. And it's just right above Skunk Works. And it catches my eye. This thing, Stephen, comes out and it's strobing. Brrr, these white lights under it. Brrr, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it's quiet. And I'm watching. I'm like, okay, all right. Then it comes right over my house. And it parks right above me. And it's about, I'm going to guess and say 50 feet. And it was 3 white lights, one on, I don't know. I didn't know the shape of the craft. I can't say any of that. I'm looking at these 3 white lights going, brrr. It wasn't making a sound. I'm doing that for effect, right? the strobing. Anyway, dead silent. Dead silent. And it's right above me, man. I'm looking into the belly of it. And I almost felt like it came over my house for a reason. Right? Okay, so there's that aspect of it. But I'm watching, I was like, holy crap. The thing is just, and it just went back. And now, so I thought to myself, that was anti-gravitic. And this is the other thing that really overpowered my mind. That thing could park anywhere and nobody would know it.
Yeah.
Right. And and at that time, all the drones were happening. And then I'm seeing this go down. And so now I'm thinking about that aspect of it. Could this, if this was this is tested over Palmdale. We see shit like this every night. Every night there's something going on in this town. It's one of the reasons why I live here. But if they did that over another city, people would lose their minds if they saw it. Now, I don't know if the white strobing was the propulsion system. I don't know. If you turn that off, you wouldn't see it. I'm talking about the lights. But it seemed to me that what I was seeing with the lights flashing rapid, that maybe that was the propulsion system. I don't know. But that is what Lockheed is testing out here. And yeah, oh man.
It could be a silent propeller drone with some lights on it. Could be a number of things. No way.
No.
But you couldn't see the structure, so you don't know how big it was, right? Well, I can only judge to say it was 500 feet up or 1,000. It was low. Okay. So what is 500 feet? A football field or something? Yeah.
So it was pretty low, but it was big. It wasn't, it wasn't small.
Okay.
It was pretty good size, not making a sound. I see jets, I see rockets, I see helicopters, I see everything flying around here making noise. This thing was silent. It was freaky, man. It was
How many miles are you from Vandenberg?
200.
Relatively close.
200.
So,
it's on the coast, you know.
Yeah. So that some of the testimony that came out one of those hearings is about several events, and it's starting to get more traction. And I think it was supported in the film. I think about some men, some of the security guys, and a huge, massive black thing comes over that base.
Oh, it was red. It was red. It wasn't
or
black.
red,
It was
whatever.
red. It was red. That was the Boeing contractors that saw that at Vandenberg.
Well, I think there was more than one event because this was black, I think. I'm just saying that these things are now starting to get aired. These guys are coming forward.
Right.
And that is a problem. Vandenberg, of course, is got a history that's amazing. So again, stuff is just coming out everywhere. Dropping witnesses, this and that. And that's what I mean by the truth embargo is collapsing. It can't catch all of this stuff. It's just happening too fast. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. Vandenberg, when I heard that testimony, it was pretty exciting. But I'll say this. I have been to Vandenberg. I've been there on the beach with the security escort, Space Force, to watch a SpaceX launch. And standing there on the beach, and they took me all over the base. I was able to go to. I even went to the PX. The security took me to the PX so I could buy stuff.
Yeah,
dude, I got SpaceX or Space Force T-shirts and stuff, stickers for my car. It was amazing. Anyway, let me say this: when those witnesses talked about that, when you go to the coast, and I'm only saying this because I've been there. When you go to the coast where they have all the towers, the launch sites, the security, the sensor systems, the radar, the radio antennas, everything that is a crazy, secure, high tech, and everybody's there. NSA, NRO, they've all got their buildings. You drive past them. Oh, there's the NRO. Wow. Okay. It is there. It is the most secure place. And for something like that to happen at Vandenberg, everybody on that base knew about it. They have way too many. It's one of the most protective and sensitive areas in the world, right? So to have the testimony there, where are the reports? All of that stuff is documented. Let's bring that stuff forward. What is it that they saw, they tracked, and what did the sensor data, what data was collected? That's
the other event was a big black thing, and the guys that saw it have had a rough time. Okay. In other words, it's another instance where if it hasn't gone well, they try to report it. And this kind of stuff is going to start coming forward. So let me shift for a second. I noticed during the break that you're going to have a very busy 2026. And some of those conferences, great lineups that you were showing, that you're going to be speaking at and so forth. A lot of those events look like first time. Like that's the first time that those events have been held. Am I correct there? I think I am.
I don't think so.
I'd never heard of them, right? So have they actually been multiple events on
that? Contact in the Desert?
No, not Contact in the Desert. The other ones you're going to. I can't the name.
Life Expo.
But there were 2 or 3 others.
Contact Modalities Expo.
Yeah, that's a first time.
That's it. No. It's
a
big
really?
event. Yeah, it's really cool too. Yeah, it's just north of Chicago at this beautiful resort. That's a big conference. A lot of fun.
So, by the way, I noticed that Diane Hennessy Powell is at several of them. Good. So the events are going to start getting more audience, but you're going to see more events taking place. And there's one that I am helping out. I'm not speaking, but I'm kind of co-sponsoring in a way. That's coming out in December, this next month, December 14th to 17th. And it's it is online. It was supposed to be at a hotel in Washington, but the circumstances made that difficult. And so it's online this time. The next 5 will be in cities around the world. And what it is, it's called the State of the World Forum. Now, you're old enough maybe to remember, maybe you're not old enough, that after the Soviet Union collapsed and the Communist Party was outlawed, there was a burst of optimism that maybe we're going to start getting this thing together here. It's like maybe really dampen things down, get rid of a lot of the nukes, detente, get along, and all that. People were really feeling very positive. Berlin Wall was down. They're all celebrating. And in that context, Gorbachev, who was now out of power, but still robust, he formed the Gorbachev Foundation. And somebody he was working with named Jim Garrison was the president. And then they built and created the State of the World Forum, and they held 6 of them in the 90s, 95 to 2000, I believe. And these were events that were designed to take advantage of this optimism and look again at where we might go. And so they were big. Heads of state came in, right? Very well-known scientists and so forth came. And they got together and discussed the state of the world and where it could go, anticipating some positive progress. Unfortunately, they were lasted for 6 years, and then the heads of state and others decided, let's have a Cold War again. Let's have more proxy wars. Let's go back to the way we were, and they did. And now you see where we're in now. But there was that what do they call it? Anyway. So those events were so heavy that they were asking $5,000 a ticket and getting large crowds. Okay, so now 30 years go by. Jim Garrison is still here. Gorbachev is gone. So Jim decided it's time to bring the State of the World Forum back, because we're about to maybe undergo that major change, that incredible transformation, that event that's going to try to bring back that positivism. The future is looking better. And he's referring to disclosure, of course. And there's other things that are happening that are clearly pretty profound. And so he decided to put it together. And it's an online conference, December 14th to 17. And it's stateoftheworld.forum, State of the World Forum. 51 panelists from very interesting, diverse fields. High-level people are going to come together, and they're going to do a number of large panelist sessions, and they're going to discuss the state of the world right now. And they're kind of dividing it up into sections. And one of the cool things about it is there's things they're going to be addressing they couldn't even address in 1990s. Why? One of the big areas is NHI, cosmic intelligence. Obviously, they're going to go into it in depth. They're going to go into AI, right, in depth. Right? So these are 2 areas that are somewhat new. Psionics, right, the emerging of these abilities of the brain. And then they're also going to talk about global intelligence in the sense of the Earth as an incredibly intelligent thing that we're starting to understand better. So it's a special conference. And I invite people to check it out. If you decide you'd like to register, I'm a co-sponsor. So if you can contact me through my email or phone, text, phone, email, I can provide a promotional code that will save you quite a bit of money on that registration. So this is the kind of conferences we expect to see more of. We need to start coming together, the top people, look at the state of the world now, and then how can we project a future that we can fall in love with instead of one that we live in fear of all the time. This is doable, but I have to say this. Disclosure is critical in this going forward, right? We've got to have a break in the pattern. We've got to break out of this spell we've been under for all of these years, where nuclear weapons, the faster, the harder, whatever, all the other stuff we do, and the fights over territory, the endless proxy wars, we've got to get past that. And that's what this conference is about, and that's what the Truth Embargo is about. So I commend the State of the World Forum to your valued listeners.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. The event topics, pretty interesting. Yeah, UAP disclosure is right there listed as a topic.
Yeah.
AI, climate. This is pretty interesting.
So I'm hoping to see more of that, and I think we will. I think the conferences that you were referring to, you're going to be in next year. They have a better chance to really start galvanizing people to think of a better future if we can break out of certain things. In other words, the Truth Embargo is holding us back. It's preventing us from going places we must go. It's preventing us from getting access to technology that can solve our problems. So if we can get that and then continue to create these kind of events, it's going to be a pretty cool 5 or 6 years. That's all I'm asking for. We got to get past the way we've been operating for the last 125 years. It's been hell on earth. It's ridiculous. It's really upset. If you live in the United States, you got a nice place and whatever. I get it. It's not too tough. But if you really look around the world, my God, it's just a nightmare. And that's going to eventually get to us. You can't have billions of people suffering before they get really irritated and do nasty things. And then when you've got these governments that are constantly threatening each other over whatever the hell they want, prepared to go to war over a couple of square feet of territory or throw rocks at each other and border wars and all that crap, we got to get past that. We know.
I know. And see here, this is the crazy part. And I am a pure student of history. This part of being human has been going on since we were able to walk. All right. Battles over territory and imaginary borders, religion, government, right? All of these things. Yeah. And we're no better now than we've ever been in the past. You would think that we would have started to learn some lessons by now. And I'm almost embarrassed by it. And no, I am embarrassed by it. But here's the thing. If there is kind of dovetailing on what you had just said, here's the thing. If there is something that the man fears about us, is what if we just started getting along? Right? The system breaks down for them. And what would bring us all together? E.T. The knowledge of we are not alone in the universe. It's so fundamental. It's a non-trivial issue. It's a huge issue.
It's a worldview paradigm shift.
Yeah, for sure. And the power structures that are in play right now, they don't ever want that. They don't want us to get along. They don't. They simply don't. Because if they did, we would.
But there's another truth. The power boys, usually boys, they're women, but that accumulate power, accumulate wealth, and then do what they want. A lot of them are not particularly compos mentis, but in any event, they've always been outnumbered hundreds of thousands to one. Always. Maybe millions to one, frankly. Because most of them do their worst as heads of state, rulers, and what have you. And there's only 200 countries, maybe millions to one. They've always been outnumbered. But the world's people are never able to probably get into a position where they will work together, get a sense of what is needed, and basically just push them aside. And I get that. There's a lot of things that divide us constantly. But the knowledge that we're not alone and the potential for contact with ETs in an open way in the future and transformative texts, this is the kind of thing that can bring billions of people together. And guess what? Probably coincidental. They have the technology. I got it right here in front of me. You know what we're talking about? To come together. Billions of people can interact through the neural link that we've created on this planet. You could technically have a Zoom call with 2 billion people. It would cost a lot, but technically it could be done. Or you could even run it through a space link, whatever the hell. We have the ability to come together and in using the sheer numbers, push aside the people that thrive on keeping us afraid, threatening us, intimidating us, isolating us, ghettoizing us, and so forth, purely for their own personal satisfaction, and in some cases for money. Not knocking money per se. You can have very successful capitalism in any country and not go through the crap that we're going through. But again, that requires coming together, making changes, and so forth. This is kind of what's on our doorstep, delivered by Amazon. I'm sure this is sitting there. We just need to go out and get the package before some porch pirate takes it. Right? That's a good analogy. I just came up with that. It's brand new.
Good. That was actually pretty damn good.
Because I watch a lot of YouTube and porch pirate videos are really a big thing now. Anyway, the point is that when I have passion for this, it isn't because, oh, gee, I want to know that the ETs are really here, or, I want to see a craft. That's not why I have this passion. It is a passion based on the fact that this is very much connected to the circumstances of human civilization at this particular time. It is not a coincidence. There's a reason they start showing up after Hiroshima and Nagasaki en masse, start crashing, actually giving us ships. That came up in the documentary. You've heard about this. A lot. They confirmed that a lot of times the ship is just left there for us to pick up. Think about that for a second, right? Giving you a ship, right? Learn some tech from it, right? Or you could turn it into a bomber. I don't know, but the complex relationship between us and these ETs for the last 80 years is worth 25 movies. And I hope some big shot is going to make some real good ones, Steven Spielberg. And so Dan is paving the way. He's got multiple projects next year. He is going to become a major player in this. He's going to be like a leader. The other Hollywood guys like Spielberg and J.J. Abrams, who have done a nonfiction series like UFO and Encounters, all good, thank you. They haven't done any films. So they may want to follow him and say, okay, that's a good doc you got there, Dan. But I think I can beat that, right? I'm going to put $30 million. We're going to do a doc that's going to cover the truth embargo from the beginning. All of this could be coming. But somebody's got to lead the way. We had leaders and point people going back to the 40s and 50s, 60s. There was always some people trying to lead the way. They're mostly gone now. There's still people trying to lead the way now. We do the best we can. But we're limited. We need people like Dan who are less limited.
Are you his agent? Are you his agent?
I'm not his agent, but he is now a major figure in this issue and needs to be accepted as that. And he's going to get a lot of crap. And so he needs to get some good vibes. And he's getting a lot of that online. But this movie, which is his movie, basically, he didn't go to the studio because he didn't want any studio telling him, hey, you don't want to do that. So it's all his. He worked from home, put the thing together. Of course, he's got access to post and pre-production experts. Put this out, did the marketing, did the setup, got the interviews. What more can you do? Now, look, he recognized James Fox. James Fox is fantastic. Could he have done what Dan could? No. But he worked with James on a movie. James is really very, very, how would you say, just incredibly appreciative of, and he's putting out posts to that effect. It'd be nice if some of them would work with some of the other documentary makers. We've got a lot of people that have made docs. Come together. That's why I created with Dan Harari the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. We got 250 members now. They help people come together, make the films that are going to educate the world. And so that we could start talking more about a post-disclosure, new technological world and less about the latest threats of launching nukes, which you get one every couple of days.
You bring up such a fantastic point that I just think, I mean, I mention it every night on the show, but I just think that it should be driven home. E.T., if they get here, and they do, but if they get here, that means they have overcome the bullshit that we live through every day on this planet. They've overcome that. They're not at war. They are, okay, E.T. is coming from Planet Camel's Soup, right? So, or whatever the name of their planet is, okay? And so that's how my mind works. So
it has been in the news lately.
But they don't consider themselves, they would have evolved past countries, borders, religions, race, and all of that. They are Soupians, right? We are earthlings, but we don't consider ourselves earthlings. Everything is territorial and individualized and divided and everything else. And that's what we need to appreciate about E.T. is that they have overcome that. And we need to overcome that. There is just I'm embarrassed, man. E.T., if they really showed up for an open conversation and man, pulled out the dinner chairs and we have the main table and the kids' tables and we actually sit down, we're going to be proud of the way we act on this planet. But
no.
We mature and evolved into something special. No, we haven't.
All right, let's turn it.
Just show ET social media. Are you going to back up and go, man? This is our technology, man. This is how we have evolved. Have you seen somebody put a firecracker in his butt? Check it out, man. It just went viral.
So
Right.
what you're trying to say is that they have moved past the point in their evolution on their planet where they do not stick firecrackers in their butt. I believe that.
Hopefully that is the case, right?
Let me turn that into something that will give me a great finish here. You ready? Okay. We'll start with what you just said, which is quite true. The laws of physics are the same throughout the universe. The elements are the same throughout the universe. And so they have to learn them just like we do, assuming you become that advanced and so forth. And so they're going to have to deal with the risk of all of these sciences that we have. And the point is that they got through that, or at least ultimately they were able to get past it and have a civilization that could travel the stars, not looking to blow everything up. So that's good, which means that it would be nice to sit down and talk to them about how did you do that? Now, I happen to believe that the whole disclosure thing, which they're helping to facilitate, is not just, that's not the end. Disclosure is necessary. Worldwide disclosure is necessary for open contact to go well. And so after disclosure, I think open contact takes place where we're talking to each other, not necessarily in the same room, but there's dialogue going on and it's made public where we can then talk with them about, and by the way, AI could come in handy for that, which is kind of interesting. But in any event, look, how did you do that? How did you get through that? Did you blow yourselves up? You didn't? Well, how did you work? So there's that.
That's the question I would ask.
Of course you would.
I don't care about faster than light travel. I don't care about stopping pollution on this planet or curing cancer.
Right. Okay.
How the heck did you guys do it?
All right, now let's go to the next level. So let's say
what's the next level from
there's
that?
Another next level, Jim. I've always got more levels. Trust me.
Okay. All right. Let's go, Stephen.
And so they have managed to deal with that and move on. And then, so they see a planet that's going through the same thing, right? And they kind of know how that can go. It can go really bad. It can go good, right? And they're seeing that. One would not be surprised to think that they might go, well, you know, let's intervene here a little bit. Let's kind of deal with this. Let's see if we can help them not get through this, right? Maybe they had help when they were up against these same fundamental physical problems in terms of science and technology and weaponry. And so they might want to step in and help. And they might turn up at just about the time we're here. Because in 1900, we didn't have that problem. But from 1900 on, it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it really got bad when we slaughtered our own people in Japan. And then they started turning up big time. So it looks like there may be a connection between our situation and their ability to understand that and maybe help. Now, okay, let's go another step further. There's a lot of stars out there. That 2 trillion galaxies, 100 to maybe 500 million stars in just our galaxy. The average number of planets per star system is probably around 4 to 5. The number of planets in the galaxy is unbelievable. So there's a lot of life out there. So why would this particular group that we know a lot about, we've painted them, we've drawn them, we have a pretty good idea what they look like. In fact, they talked about that in the film as well. Why is it that they're here? Right? I mean, could it have to do with the fact that we are facing these challenges and they want to help? Okay, but why would they want to help? Just on general principles? What if there was a connection that supported that? And when you look at the ETs, what do you see? And this came up in the film. You see the Nordics or tall whites that look very much like humans. The Nordics look just like us. Genetic connection. The reptilians. Why do they look reptilians? There's some reptilian day in them that came from God knows when and probably been off planet and developed into a sentient species. Why do the insectoids look insect-like? Because there's insect DNA. Came from our planet long time ago.
Who in the film is talking? Marco Rubio's talking about
No,
insectoids?
I'm saying that some of this came, not what I'm saying now, but the idea of intervention, I think, and dealing with those issues came up. I'm going further than that. I'm trying to point out that if, in fact, some non-human species, well, pretty much non-human species, chose to intervene with us, one of the reasons may be because there's a kinetic connection to us. There is DNA in them that came from our planet. Could have been 1 billion years ago, could have been 1 million years ago. But if you've got people traveling the galaxy in ships and going to star systems, they're gonna research and investigate life systems. They're gonna take stuff. They're gonna work with it. They're gonna put it in labs. And so it's not an accident that there seems to be a very powerful genetic connection with all of the principal beings that we know about. But one is a little different, the grays. the various grays, they don't really have much humans. 2 heads, 2 arms, 2 eyes. I get it. But there's not a lot of genetic connection, except which of the 4 species that we know the most about are involved in the genetic work? It's the grays. According to the contactees, the hybrids are with the grays. And so there's another genetic connection there. And so I'm suggesting they are here to help us get through this, not just because they're just randomly deciding to do it, but because they have a connection to our planet, which makes it special. It makes it something they care about because part of them came from here. Who knows how long ago? It doesn't matter. This comes together to make sense for me. And if that is true, then we need to help that along. Right? We're making it really tough. They turn our nukes off, we turn them back on. They turn them off, we turn them back on. Right? They give us messages to our kids. We keep doing the same shit. They give messages to contactees. They're trying. After Roswell, we had a craft. We had the bodies. They're probably up there going, okay, they got bodies. They got craft. They're going to look at this and go, okay, look, we need to probably talk about this. And we didn't. We locked it up. So what did they do? 5 years after Roswell, they fly over the Capitol for about 12 days.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
Back and forth and back and forth. A little messy.
In the little time that we have left, let me ask you a couple of things because I haven't seen the film. Did anybody in the film say that they have seen a craft in our possession?
Yes.
Did anybody say that?
Yes.
Somebody said that in the film, that they have seen a craft in a warehouse.
Yes, sir. Seen bodies. I think someone said they seen bodies. There were some substantial revelations in that film. Some of them were important because we kind of knew something like that, but it wasn't really given a lot of credence. In other words, it didn't just have the necessary stuff behind it. So you push it aside and they come back and say, oh yeah. So there's about 12 or 13 points. If we had another show, I would probably take all of those and we'd go through them one by one.
Well, we can do that for sure. But let me back up. I don't want to run out of time.
Okay, go ahead.
What I am saying is it's one thing because I can make this statement. I can make the statement, yes, we have craft in our possession and we are reverse engineering it. Jimmy Church can say that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's another thing for me to say, and I have seen them. Sure. I have been there. That's crossing the line. And if anybody in this film has said that, not that we have craft in our possession, shit. Eric Davis said that in the New York Times 5 years ago. It's not new news. But to say that you have seen it, then you need to go in front of Congress. You need to reveal who that company was, where that craft was, and that's it. You have to back up the BS and you can't hide behind an NDA. If you are saying that in the film, then you can take it the next step.
But remember, it with a process of setting up the president for disclosure, not getting everything out. Okay, and so if they were to go in front of a hearing, right, tomorrow, they might give the same answer that Grush gave. Yeah, I have seen one. Can you tell us where? I cannot. I don't have the clearance for that or whatever. That's okay. That's okay. What they're saying is enough to advance this thing forward, pushing things forward, and it can only land one place. Without confirmation from the president, we're still going to be stuck.
Yeah, right? You're right. But in Grush's defense, he never said he saw anything.
Right.
He was only told. He was told. So now you're set. You're 2 degrees removed. But if you're saying on camera that you have seen these craft yourself in our possession being reverse engineered, then that's it. You're not hiding behind an NDA anymore. You have already.
No. You may be cleared to say that, but you may not be cleared to say what lab it's in or something. Again,
I don't give a shit about.
I know you don't care, but
cleared you. You're not going to jail anymore. There's nothing. Just get out and say it. Jimmy, the whole world is defending you.
You're making that witness is making it too much about them. The process is got to be conducted in a reasonably responsible way, not wild and crazy. Right? You got to kind of keep it cool in order to set the president up. All right. But two of the things the movie did. Again, this movie has got all kinds of consequences. One, It just provided a whole list of people that could be in part of the next hearing, right? Every
That's
one
my
of these
point. Yes,
is available to go in front of a hearing where they can go and say what they can, but it'll be a powerful hearing. It's also setting up all these people to be interviewed. The media has got 34 people to go interview, right? And so that is going to generate a lot of coverage, which I'll be chronicling on my website. I expect the largest number of articles on a single topic ever on this. Currently, the largest number in these years I've done it is 3i Atlas. 3i Atlas, everybody went nuts. The number of articles about 3i Atlas is off the chart. And that is basically an extrasolar comet with a slightly different consistency. It's going to fly right through and head on for another billion years. But we're so into ETs now that, man, we just jumped on that puppy. It's kind of safe. This is going to generate a lot of articles too.
Are you saying 3i Atlas is not ET?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's ET.
No.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. Prove that it's not.
Let's put it this way.
No, but what I'm saying is nobody can. So you can say that, which is fine.
Yeah.
Right. I can say that it's ET.
That's right.
And it's fine. Right. When I say to you, prove that it's not, you can't.
Oh, we can't prove either way.
That's right.
But here's what we can say. If that thing simply goes on, flies on out, like all transient objects do, the best that we can say is it might have had some ETs on them and maybe they waved as they went by.
I'm not even, maybe there was life on it. I'm not even suggesting that. But is it a natural object? No, it's not. It's not. That is.
Why do you think that? Because it had some unusual characteristics?
First off, my main thing is this.
Yeah.
It's traveling at an insane speed. It's not faster than light, but 200,000 miles per hour is ripping fast. It's the fastest thing ever in our star system.
It's turbo.
Number one. But number two, here's the big fundamental problem for science. They are saying that it's 7 billion years old. What they're not addressing is how does a natural object have fuel on it for 7 billion years? How does anything stay inside of that? Everything that is encountered, everything that no. Now, if you want to say it's a rock and there's nothing, but you can't say that it's a comet. It's not. It's simply not that. So, could it be a probe? Could it be a piece of something? Could it be anything else? And this is my second point with this. This is very, 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 in my eyes, important. What are we doing? We've got Hubble. We've got the James Webb. We've got an entire satellite network. We've got terrestrial-based telescopes all doing one thing, looking for ET, looking out into the cosmos, looking for exoplanets and searching for life. Our trailer park, backwards ass planet that we are actually doing that. ET has been doing the same thing as us forever.
Yeah,
we are sending probes to Jupiter and Saturn and Mars, and we've got Mercury and Venus and of course the sun. In our own little trailer park way, we're trying to discover what's out there. ET's doing the same thing. And to think that it is against all probabilities that an object from an ET race that is out there floating through galaxies and discovering the universe wouldn't cruise by our star system, why would that be an impossibility?
I say it's not impossible. I've got 1 minute to respond. I haven't got a chance. You got me cornered, Jimmy.
Go.
I got a hell of a response to that, but I got a minute. I think I can do it. Want to give me a shot? I'll try.
If anybody can do it, Stephen Bassett can, and you're wasting valuable seconds.
Here's what it is. This was thrown out of another solar system. God knows how far away. And the process that threw it out, you have no idea what it was. It could have easily generated 200,000 miles an hour. 2, all solar systems form the same way. It's an accretion disk that comes out of a giant ball of stuff that's all together. The gravity pulls it together. You got the middle and you got the accretion disk. The sun turns on, the accretion disk turns into the planets. It's always the same. However, that doesn't mean that that's the same level or consistency of elements is the same. It could have different elements, but the elements are the same, but may have more or less of it. And so when an object kicks out of another solar system altogether, it's basically a comet. That doesn't mean it's made up of the same stuff that our comets or we're familiar with, which all go around our own sun in our own former accretion disk. And so it comes in with different elements, and so it's acting differently as it's getting closer and picking up the radiation. It's throwing stuff here. It's got a little too much nickel, whatever the hell. But that's not shocking. It's from another solar system. All right. So the speed is not shocking because you don't know what launched it out there. It's been traveling forever. So if it's a probe, okay, fine, but it's not, there's no pilots on it. And so overall, once you take away the anomalies, it's basically a comet with unusual characteristics. It's on a straight path and it's going to go on. And so if it's a probe, well, great. But the odds are it's because we know about comets. They're all over the place. What's rare is one coming from another solar system. And that's what makes it special and makes it interesting, and we jumped all over it, and I love that. Okay,
with an unlimited 7 billion year fuel supply.
That's
a bit of a stretch, Stephen.
Jimmy,
that's just a bit of a stretch. I'm talking a comet's fuel supply. 7 billion years,
Jimmy.
7 billion years, and here's the other thing. We only picked up on this. This is not funny. This isn't comedy. We only picked it up as it appeared behind Jupiter. We didn't see it approach. We didn't see anything. And it was self-illuminated. Jimmy, comets don't have fuel supplies. It was thrown out of a solar system. It's just a giant rock with stuff on it, and it's traveling through space, nothing to slow it down. And so if it's launched out of that system at 200,000 miles, it's going to stay that way. And the fuel supply you're referring to is basically the ice and other matter that starts to get affected by the sun's radiation. And while it seems like a lot, it's not that much, and it's casting that off. So a comet doesn't. You've answered my question. So it never ran out of things to cast off for 7 billion years. At what point in 7 billion years does everything evaporate and it's just a clump of rock?
Well, first of all, I don't know how they came up with 7 billion years. Okay, but even so, you want to pass through this galaxy like this thing? You could probably go 7 billion years and not go through a solar system. This is a very big galaxy. And if you went through 5 or 6 or 7, you're going to lose some mass. But it's a pretty big size, I guess you could say, extrasolar comet. And when it was launched, it could have been 10 times bigger. So I'm just saying, man, you got to chill. This is a cool comet.
I'm chilled.
It's generated a lot of interest.
You need to stop listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson. You need to stop listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Man, that's gonna
hey, Stephen, I love you, man. Listen, have a great, safe, fun, and amazing Thanksgiving. We're heading into the holidays. I can't wait to see you again. And the next time you want to come on the show, just let us know, and we'll take things to the next level like we always do, man. I really appreciate you.
And let the guys running all those cool conferences are in next year. Let them know about me. I think I fell out of the Rolodex.
Oh, I've got a juice card I'm willing to play for you. Okay?
Absolutely. All right,
You're
man.
the best, Stephen. Thank you so much, brother.
Bye.
Stephen Bassett, everybody. His links are below. And I did go and check out that World Forum. Go and check that out too. That's pretty interesting, how they've got that set up. And with that, that's it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And I say this every year, and I really, really seriously mean this. Do everything that you want to do. Eat everything that you want to do. Go have an amazing time with your friends and your family. And if you do it alone and that's what you want to do, you just do it. Just do it safe, do it fun, and do it amazing. I'll see you right back here on Monday. Until then, all I've got is go back, Lee Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy.
Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.